Hi, it's Mary. So peeps, today's video will be slightly different than the usual. The usual You're Not Wrong series, don't worry, will stay on the channel. However, not everyone has the time to watch, a 30-minute video. It's also very time consuming. And that's a problem for two reasons. One, the algorithm wants you to put out a lot of videos if you want your channel to grow, which obviously a 30 video with a lot of research, you can't do that every day. And two, I can't vent out about everything I want because not everything can fit in the video. So these videos will serve those two purposes. And for the pilot episode, we're going to talk about Ben, who did a video for PragerU University. So it's going to be a match of thoughts made in heaven. So let's not lose any more time and let's watch the goddamn video, although I'm already fucking triggered.
You probably think your opinions matter. You probably think you're an individual with unique experiences, thoughts, and ambitions. Well, I hate to break it to you, but according to current leftist orthodoxy, you're wrong.
You probably think your opinions matter. Who's you? Well, we all know who's you. The straight white male. The person who obviously is oppressed. The person who obviously just wants to be based around their characters, who they are, what they do, not based upon being straight, white and male. And that nice touch of the leftist orthodoxy. It always makes you think that leftist orthodoxy, it's something of, well, first, it's dangerous. It's like a cult. But second, and most importantly, it sounds very foreign. I don't want none of that foreign shit. It sounds shiny. It's like Mao Zedong could have said it. He could have said those kind of things. Whereas me, a true American, I love individualism, and I love my opinions to be taken very seriously.
You see, your opinion only matters relative to your identity, and where that identity ranks on the hierarchy of intersectionality.
First off, nice memes, my friend. I really like that throwback to 2014 and the idea of oppressional lipping. That's very nice. But also the idea that the left with intersectionality has found sort of weapon to demonize all white men, and make their opinions completely irrelevant.
I'm Ben Shapiro, and I'm racist and homophobic.
Just to suffer.
Speaking of relevance, how is that relevant to the topic of intersectionality? The reason why it brings that up is that obviously it can talk about that sweet, sweet freedom of speech and how the left is infringing upon it. Basically, intersectionality is the thickest form of identity politics. And we all know how much the right, but Ben in particular, love that sweet identity politics. Now, obviously, and despite them bringing the real definition of intersectionality in the video by its fucking author, why Ben does that? Intersectionality is not really about opinion. It's only part of the problem. What intersectionality really is that it shows black people, gay people, trans people, that they are of common ground on which they can group themselves.
If you're now thinking, what the hell are you talking about? You haven't spent much time on a modern college campus. Intersectionality is a form of identity politics in which the value of your opinion depends on how many victim groups you belong to.
Once again with that fucking meme of the oppression Olympic. Please, Ben, for the love of God, just no! If you're a white man or straight white man, obviously yes, your opinion matters. Just don't stifle those of black people, gay people. Be nice and let them express their opinions, something that Ben really isn't keen on having happening, strangely enough.
At the bottom of the totem pole is the person everybody loves to hate, the straight white male. And who's at the top? Well, it's very hard to say because new groups claim victim status all the time. No one can keep track.
Yes, Ben, yes, those fucking leftists, can they shut up for a minute? Now, assuming we don't take that for a meme but at face value, if you're a straight white male, yes, you may have problems, but you've never had to worry about your straightness, your whiteness, or your maleness. They are the default in society that everyone expects from everyone. When you deviate from these, if you're black or if you're trans, that's when the problems arise. So if you're black, there's racism. If you're a woman, there's sexism. If you're trans, there's transphobia. And you can go on and go on and go on until you make the most oppressed person in the universe. Basically, the more you go away from the given in society as a straight white male, the more you're going to be handled shit to deal with in your life. That's just that.
So, how does this intersectionality thing play out? Something like this. Let's say you're a gay white woman. Your opinion matters, but less than that of a gay black woman.
Once again, we've already tackled that. There's no reason to even go further. But there is a whammy now.
Why? Because while all women are oppressed by the patriarchy, and all gays are oppressed by the heterosexual majority, blacks have a victim status that whites obviously don't.
And I just want you to understand, because Ben, like a lot of people, like Steven Crowder, they can't always talk and go full out on those leftists, on the minorities. What Ben did is saying that basically, if you're black, you're not oppressed. What Ben did is just erase racism altogether. The opinion of the black gay woman matters less than that of the white gay woman. Why? Because the black woman is black, so she suffers from racism. But because that video is intersectionality, the snarky comments, what we must understand is that her opinion shouldn't be valued more. Why? Because as a black person, you're not really oppressed now, are you? Also, a second whammy to come.
Of a black trans woman who ranks below a black Muslim trans woman, and so on.
Thank you very much for making the two brown and black characters look like gorillas, because they're trans. That's very nice touch.
The more memberships you can claim in oppressed groups, the more aggrieved you are, and the higher you rank.
And then I think here is the crux of the problem, or at least one of them, is that to Ben, it seemed that ranks of the Oppression Olympics are a real thing. And it seems that he really thinks that left is a sort of real organizations. Like crazy people think that the Illuminati is a real organization with ranks, etc. Normally, the better your rank in an organization, the better your place. You have more money, more power, etc. But here, we're talking about characteristics of oppressed people. What do you gain from being black? Like more mentions on Twitter? And what really infuriates me is that it seems that that's what Ben is getting at. Basically, leftists have it all. The more you're oppressed, the better your life.
Intersectionality takes your victim status and uses it as the basis for creating alliances with other victim groups.
I kind of like that because it's sort of not completely untrue. It's close to the actual definition of intersectionality. But Ben, being the whamming boy that he is, he can't help but poke a stick at those crazy leftists. That's why he uses the term victim status. Because, once again, you have to remember, oppressed people in America are not really oppressed. Why? Wait until the end of the video to see why it's illuminating.
Today's activists demand blacks make common cause with other allegedly oppressed people. Gays, lesbians, transgenders, Palestinians, Native Americans, whomever.
And here, I want you to remember what Ben actually said at the beginning of the video.
Because new groups claim victim status all the time. No one can keep track. New groups.
Why are we still here?
What that means is that gay people, trans people, and fucking Native Americans are not oppressed. How can one say that and no one bat a fucking eye? How can one deny that Native Americans are oppressed? A group who was almost genocided, who lives in such utter shit conditions because, once again, of their history. How can one say that? It fucking boggles my mind.
Here's the logic. A black gay and a Hispanic gay may not belong to the same victim group racially, but they do belong to the same victim group on the basis of their sexuality. By focusing on the places where various victim identities intersect, intersectionality creates a united us versus them paradigm.
Lot to unpack here. So Ben seems to dislike the idea that different groups, different minority groups, can actually get together. Now he never explains why that is bad, he just says that it is, which I suppose that for Ben, facts don't care about your logic, Shapiro, it's enough. It creates an us versus them mentality. Yes, it's Ben Shapiro, Left Destroys Western Civilization, which said that an us versus them mentality is bad. Hello, Kettle, do you mind if I talk to you in private?
Righteous victims rising up together to fight the oppressor, those dreaded straight white men.
Now, you have to understand that behind the snark, Ben is doing something very insidious. Because not only is he telling minorities that they shouldn't rise up, being righteous victims rising up together, but also, and that's more dangerous, that they are not really oppressed, that the straight white male is not oppressing anyone, when we all know that in reality, it's not the case.
This explains why at a rally protesting the treatment of Palestinians by Israel, you might see a contingent of lesbian activists. That's intersectionality at work. They're so united by their victim status that it doesn't matter if Islamists throw gays off of buildings or murder female family members who defy their father's wishes. Victim solidarity trumps all other considerations.
Now, we are not going to talk about that because that's another topic. Just dog whistle, look over here, we don't have a problem here. Just look at the Muslims, they are bad. That's where it's bad, so shut up, you should be happy. It also means that, the groupthink is so strong that they can't think straight for themselves, and in fact are doing themselves a disservice because they are too fucking stupid to see the contradiction.
Victim solidarity trumps all other considerations. The term intersectionality was coined by Kimberly Crenshaw, a professor of law at Columbia University. She explains that intersectionality was my attempt to make feminism, anti-racist activism, and anti-discrimination law do what I thought they should: highlight the multiple avenues through which racial and gender oppression were experienced.
Now, that's very nice, but it also makes me wonder, why didn't you use a fucking definition in the beginning? Why did you go on that fucking tangent about opinions? The reason is very simple to understand. It's so that you can rile up your audience about intersectionality and make them hate it because it silences them. The gays will come into my bedroom and silence me, quietly sobbing around a mouthful of cock, yes? What Kimberly is in fact pointed, and what I think is very powerful, is that your life is experience based, partially at least, on who you are, on what you're born as. And only a straight white guy who has nothing to fear on that ground could say that being black, big trans, being a woman isn't an handicap in some way or another in our society in the West.
To Crenshaw, America is a terrible place full of victim groups, each with their particular set of grievances. Why shouldn't these victim groups get together and form a political coalition unified by the belief that the majority society has harmed them?
Well, yes, Ben. Why shouldn't they? And that's my problem. You never say why they shouldn't. You always make, once again, a snarky comment about it. But you never say that's bad because you just say that's bad. Well, I'm sorry if facts don't care about your feelings, man. That's not enough for me.
That some professor tucked away in an ivory tower would come up with this nonsense is not surprising. What is surprising and disturbing is that so many people actually go along with it. America is the most open, least racist nation on the planet.
America is the least racist nation on the planet. And I suppose that behind racist, we should also hear sexist and homophobic. How can this man can be seen as a beacon of truth after saying that? Oppression of the gays, of trans people, of black people, just how can you say that America is the least racist nation on the planet? If you don't want to go by experiences of people, just go by statistics. You will see that the least homophobic and racist and sexist nations on the planet are Nordic countries, then I'm feeling like a firefighter fighting against the fires of hell. But we are not done. We are not done. Ben also has this to say.
That Professor Crenshaw is free to spin her nonsensical theories and get paid well for it should offer adequate proof of that. And since when do you have to live someone's experience in order to understand them? You don't have to live as a slave in order to understand that slavery is cruel and wrong.
What you have to understand is two things. One, experiences don't matter, which, as I've already proven, is, in my eyes at least, completely wrong. Two, that minorities' opinions are not that important because instinctively you can know if something is wrong. You can know that, slavery is wrong. It's so obvious, which is why it took us so much time to get rid of it. But I'm sure people in the South before the Civil War were just so on board about slavery being bad. What Ben is actually saying, or what we should be doing, is that we should go back to simple as colorblind individualism. But then, let's say that you just go back to simple as individualism. People are judged based on what they do, and they are rational people. Then why do black people commit so many more crimes? Well, like Roman Millennium did, the simple answer is that they're rational people, so they just decide to commit more crimes and then, the justice system acts accordingly. But if you ask any black person, if you look at the stats, you know that's not right. You know that black people go to jail and commit more crimes because of racism, because the society that we live in has been leveled against them. You can't say that 400 years of slavery and Jim Crow law and segregation just went away and now they live as every other American. That's simply not true.
But what do I know? I'm just a straight white male.
No, you're just a twat. So I hope you liked the video. It was kind of hard to make. When I don't have a script, I feel kind of afraid and shy, and I wonder if you saw that through the video. I hope you liked it regardless. Leave a like if you did. You can stalk me on Twitter here if you want. And I'll see you soon in another video, whether it's one of these, of this format, or the big one, which should be there around the 5th of the next month. Bye-bye!